Cool thing to find, though. Glad I poked around a little bit. But I've got a weapon made of dragon. Apparently to celebrate my current Monster Hunter World playthrough that's happening at the same time. That was not planned at all. I mean, it was really not planned. I forgot Monster Hunter World was coming out. I was already recording Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment, and then I was like, oh shit, Monster Hunter is coming out like tomorrow. I better start downloading that. Uh-oh. And so Spectre of Torment's just in my backlog right now of like this like weird half-finished recording that'll air at some point. Maybe after this.
Hey, I know you. Won't you buy something? My poor child is sick. He needs your help.
You've got that grass. Here you go, lady.
This place? It's a proper mound of rubbish. All the rot of the world, living or not, ends up here. I thank the stars that I still have my boy. Ever since that demon witch came here, everything has turned foul. This was a much better place before she came. I was the apple of every man's eye. You're here to rid us of her, aren't you? Well, don't show her any mercy. I thank the star. Finished already? I only want my dear boy to be happy.
I was trying to be nice. I gave you 16,000 souls for your son, which I'm not convinced is real, by the way. Wow, the number of plague corpses 5 feet away from you makes me question how you're even currently alive. Look at this entire... Like, this place is a... This is a nightmare place. Look at this, like, goddamn cloud of insects that you just know are the kind that, like, bite into you and spread these plagues. And just... Ah... You need to move, lady. You need to move. This is bad property value. I'm not convinced that the sun actually exists, but I was like, hey, yeah, here's for your boy or whatever. I want to see if she'd say much different, and she's still not particularly thankful, even though I gave her 16,000 souls, which seems like a monstrous amount. Oh, even the shallower water is still too much. Yeah, I wonder how she manages to exist around here. Is she immune somehow? What if we find out that the next boss is her boy? And he's just like a horrible monster. But she seems like one of those sort of shrewd and conniving characters that probably just doesn't have a son and just uses them as a guilt trip for trying to get resources out of people. Hey, 3 Widow's Lotus. Foreshadowing. Yeah. And by foreshadowing, I mean level design. That was a miss. Oh. That works better. This is a really disorienting layout. A lot to try to keep track of here. Oh, plague monster in there. I see him. Item, though. Oh, frame rate. Oh, frame rate. No. That was a bad time to do that. How do you even get to some of these locations? I'm trying to interpret the layout around me. It's like he's above me. How do I even? Ow, ow. Can you climb out here? There you go. The sound that the plague... I love the crazy sound that the poison fog clouds make in these games. Like, its association with poison is really tenuous to try to determine. what that sand has to do with being poisoned, but it's just something disorienting that catches it catches your ear immediately, and you're like, what in the world am I listening to? And all you know is that it's not fire, it's not lightning, it's not many of the usual elemental color sounds, but it's bad. It does immediately communicate that it's a bad thing. That's the one thing your ear notices. I'm not sure which way to go if I want to get back up, unless I want to go all the way to the back to the beginning. Definitely gonna get poisoned. I think I remember going to a poison... I think I remember going through a poison dungeon even in my short stint with Shadow Tower, too. Definitely a reoccurring thing for them. Shadow Tower is one of those playthroughs I've always wanted to finish, but it's just... it's hard to convey what it feels like to play that game. It's really a bummer. Like, the part of you wants to look at the weird monsters and explore a weird From Software dungeon, but the other part of you, the part of you that's physically holding the controller and has to play the game, you're like, oh no. Oh no. Why did they do this? Why did they use the Armored Core controller scheme for a first-person dungeon crawler? Interestingly, I think they remade the Shadow Tower games, or the Kingsfield games, for mobile, for phones in Japan, and I believe they turned them into tile-based movement systems like most dungeon crawlers. So even they, or whoever was in control of that project, did away with the weird movement scheme of that franchise, and well, those two franchises, and went to something completely different. It's funny to think about this company as the Dark Souls company, and then realize that, like, I think even if you count Demon's Souls and Bloodborne, I think they made more Kingsfield / Shadow Tower games than they ever did Soulsborne games. And I think they also made more Armored Core games than they ever did Soulsborne games. They've been around for a while, and they've made some garbage. I remember playing Enchanted Arms, and I was not happy with it. I was rather surprised to find out that it's the same company, retroactively. Because I did not like Enchanted Arms. And I believe they also made 3D Dot Heroes? They have a weird history. So on one hand, I'm really curious to see what they do next, but on the other hand, I'm a little concerned. Because I've seen them make some bad stuff. Really, Enchanted Arms is the thing I think of. I've actually never played 3D Dot Heroes, so I'm not bashing on that thing. For me, the issue is it looks like everyone is made of voxels or whatever, and it's like, it looked like it lacked, every time I looked at screenshots or videos of it, it just looked like the game lacked all personality, which kind of hurts if you're gonna try to give me a, like, fantasy universe to explore. I don't really want to look like it's, sterile, which is what voxels often feel like. Stop it. Leave me alone. I find it amusing that, like, I was launching this channel with Demon's Souls and Dark Souls, and I'm like, I'm gonna go through the history of From Software games and see their crazy background of crazy games, and then literally the first game I touched, Shadow Tower, was an immediate roadblock to the idea. I'm like, oh no. Although Shadow Tower is probably significantly better than Enchanted Arms. Am I crazy? Am I misremembering Enchanted Arms? Is there anything good about that game? Because I can't remember anything good about that game. Maybe I also have to remind myself though that I bounced off like I started this company by playing Demon's Souls and Dark Souls and bouncing off of both of them and being like, ugh, that's not working out, and then coming back to them later, and then like they eventually click. which raises a question of like, is that the Shadow Tower Kingsfield thing? Do I just need to try it, bounce off it, and then come back like years later to suddenly like it or something? It's not an insane idea. Get out of here. So for all I know, Enchanted Arms is secretly a masterpiece, and I just bounced off it. But from my experience, there was a lot of really awkwardly voiced and acted cutscenes of awkward characters, and then you do your first... Wow, that's horrifying. No. No. No, I don't like this. Give it back, that's mine, I made it. Wow. That was not pleasant. How did he get through the armor? I guess he kind of went through like the in-between a little bit. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. My experience with Enchanted Arms is I got to the first dungeon, and I don't know if it was energy or MP. There was some kind of there's some kind of like resource that allows you to actually fight, and I just ran out of it. And then so I had to run past all the encounters in order to finish the dungeon because I had to get out of there. And then immediately I finally got to a save point and a place where you could restore whatever the energy was or whatever that was limiting my ability to fight. And then the next thing I encountered was an enemy that would just one-shot my entire party. Presumably because I didn't grind enough in the previous dungeon, but of course I couldn't grind in it because all of my resource for being able to fight was gone. I didn't get that item down there. It'd be such a long return trip though. Alright, so now the good news is I believe if I do manage to die, I can now take that shortcut from the beginning. Because this should point me right back to where we started. Yeah. See? Even in their Blight Towny locations, they're still doing those shortcuts to help you get to the boss faster. Probably a better shortcut than the one we got in Blight Town. Because what's the best way to get... no, in Blighttown you get the... You have like the sewer bonfire where you just run across one bog to get to Quelaag. Get out of here. But obviously, like, yeah, there's a sort of like an inherent contradiction in the idea of like running out of energy in a dungeon so you can't grind anymore, but then being punished because you didn't grind enough when you leave it. I don't know. I don't know. But I think that some part of me feels like From Software has a history of throwing inherently contradictory motivations into a game, such as the idea of making a punishing game that gets harder every time you die, for example. And then they just kept throwing those crazy ideas together that seemed to contradict each other until one day it just worked. And so for all we know, we just didn't appreciate all the other ones correctly, and they were all like that. And he seems to miss severely when he does that cloud. Maybe it's a targeting spell where if he hits me it'll spawn right on me, but I'm running around. The Shaman set. Like, video game historians are gonna pore over their the weird rocky past of From Software and realize that every single game was secretly genius and we just didn't understand it. That's gonna be the legacy. Boys, I basically navigate by just running forward and hoping that it works out, because there's a lot of crazy geometry to try to process mentally in this zone. I think that's basically all the items that I'd want. Oh crap, that's the shortcut again. How do I get to the portal? Was it over here? I think so. Oh, item. Uh-oh. Ow. Tried to roll. Didn't work. Oh, hey. Other dude. Goodbye. You guys have brought the cure. You're welcome. I fixed it. You're all fixed now. Congrats. Done with you. Guys hiding anything cool back here? Hey there, buddy. I wonder how many of these little areas I missed because I didn't really think, because I wasn't thinking about vaulting. Like this ups, I don't remember, like quite remember this place. Like that's the exit right there. I don't necessarily remember this overlooking room. Not that there's much up here to get. But you gotta climb up. I think we're done here. I think I've mined this place for all of its resources, whether or not I actually needed any of them. And we're pretty much ready to go. Do I have any crappy stuff to heal with? I do not. Alright, I'll use this one then. Always enter a boss with full health. I mean, it's a good idea. Not that nobody's at full health being here, though. Look at this place. We are being swarmed by awfulness. Put the Avarice ring back on. I don't think I need a Thief ring for a boss fight. Yeah, I have every disease right now. It's a good thing the game's almost over. I don't think I would last otherwise. Oh, look, even the boss is dirty by name. Ow, wee. I believe I just broke his gun off, and now he doesn't have it anymore. Yep, you just break pieces of him off. It's a pretty great visual design. And he's the most bizarre thing. Like, what is he? So you can... Oh, jeez. So you can break the cages off of him. Oh, no. Oh, he still has a gun, even though I broke it off. Huh. I still love the music to these boss fights. It's so great. I just want to look at this guy. He's so weird. Uh oh. It's the poop cloud. He's unleashing a poop cloud. Has he entered phase 2 where he has like a horde of... Yeah, he has. Yeah, he's got like a cloud around him now. Ow. Rude. Oh right, I'm being plagued, so I have to run up to the fire, don't I? A little proto version of that mechanic that would happen later, where you burn the leeches off by holding a torch in your hand and in no way lighting yourself on fire. Oddly enough, the Demon's Souls version makes more sense. Because in the Demon's Souls, you light yourself on fire, but in Dark Souls 3, you hold a torch, and then all the leeches magically get off of you, which is super intuitive. Makes total sense. As opposed to being covered in a swarm of insects and being like, ah, save me, fire, and then they'll burn off. While you take minor damage because briefly running through a fire doesn't instantly kill a large mammal the way that it instantly kills tiny flying insects. So for us, we're like, oh, ow. But for them, they're like frying in the sky because their tiny bodies can't absorb that much heat without exploding, basically. More souls. I mean, I might as well just continue forward, right? No real reason to warp back. The eroded demon's soul. I got some armor. Got a few pieces of armor, didn't we? We got the dull gold. Can't even wear it. Oh, it's female only, that's why. Dull gold helmet, worn as the war gear of a high-ranking woman in the Highlands. Its heaviness slightly impedes stamina regeneration. I think it's the helm. I think that's the armor of the character that I thought that it's supposed to be by that one candle I was looking at. I think she might be dead or gone for... as a result of something I've done, or character tendency, or maybe game progress, I don't know. And the shaman set, male only, because only men can be shamans for some reason. it's really weird to think that, like, in some way, your character spec can be determined in this game by your gender. Like, why, though? Glad they got rid of that mechanic. Clothes of a dubious heretical shaman. Oh, that's judgy. Bags to store knickknacks are attached all over. Some sort of foul-smelling tallow is also stuck to it. It's time to have a good time down here in the hole. Just gonna not bother warping back. I'll pool my resources and level up with all of them at once. I shouldn't be at risk of losing my souls in this next zone, but we'll see how bad I screw this up, I guess. Widow's Lotus.
Go forth, Galvinland. May you be unharmed.
This is such a fun idea for a zone.
Leave us, Slayer of Demons. This is a sanctuary for the lost and wretched. There is nothing here for you to pillage or plunder. Please, leave quietly.
So this is a little bit in the territory of some of the stuff that people talk about for Shadow of the Colossus, and a little bit of Spec Ops: The Line, like just one of those moments of like, you get to question whether or not you're doing the right thing. It's like, it's one of those moments where you have a boss fight that deconstructs the idea of a boss fight to an extent. Because like there's a health bar, and it's one of your big goals for beating the game is to kill this demon. But they're not. Oh, god damn it! But they're not interested in fighting you. This zone, like she's just over there or something, isn't she? No, not there. She's somewhere, and she's just sitting there, and she's not going to attack you. She's just completely motionless and standing still. Has no interest in fighting you and just wants you to leave. Go away. And she seems to have some kind of thing going on where she's created some kind of haven or refuge. Yeah, refuge, I guess, for these suffering people in this horrible place. Why they can't just leave? But I believe the lore for the Valley of Defilement is that it's just this place where people like dump their abortions and stuff like that. Like that's down here where you see all these aborted fetuses basically that are like turned into these weird nightmare demon monsters and everything. And she's just gonna sit. She's content to just sit here and not fight you. And even her defender, Garl Vinland, has no interest in fighting you unless you continue forward. He's just standing over there. And he doesn't pursue you, he's just blocking the path. But alas, if you want to beat the game, it's pretty mandatory to do this part. Did he go back down? I thought he was standing up here before. Oh, I think he went over there because he was trying to defend me, trying to defend her in case I tried to jump down. I don't know if I could survive that fall. They do give you the cat's ring in this zone. And so they later recycled this boss design with Gestalt.
I shall let no harm come to dearest Astraea. May you rot in the deepest depths of this swamp.
Look at that really deliberate setup. If you back off, he backs off. It's a really awkward place to try to fight a guy like him too, with a giant weapon.
How dare you persist in intruding upon our haven? You abandoned us long ago. What right do you have? We live humble lives. Leave us be.
I think she might heal him if when he goes. That might be why he retreats.
Dearest Astraea, I have failed you.
Delete this mechanic. God damn it. That's a really cool set too. No, and it's because it's metal. It's all the metal ones weigh 1 billion pounds. No. I mean, I can't even wear this one, so obviously, get rid of that one. It's loot you literally can't use. You're killing the moment, game. You're killing the moment. Oh, there's another one. The dark silver set. No. God damn it. All the stone. We're doing a thing, game. You're interrupting. It's exceptionally rude. I don't need... I'll drop the shaman set. Here, she won't think this is weird. She'll believe me.
You killed him, didn't you? Very well. I can no longer resist you. Do as you like. Take your precious demon soul.
Yep. You straight up kill their most precious person in the world, and so they commit suicide. Aren't you the big hero today, man? There's always upsides and downsides and issues to be had with these kinds of moments, because it's like... Yes, there's a... how do I put it? It's like at best the game is like giving you pause, I suppose, because it's not like you have a genuine choice. If you're gonna beat this game, I guess your choice is to stop playing. Go hollow, as it were, because you either have to kill her or the game won't ever continue forward because she's a mandatory boss, which puts it in a similar line as the showdown of the Rex, I suppose. Oh god damn it. Why did I do this? No, now I touched it, so I can't. Now it's gonna disappear. Whatever, this playthrough's over. I guess it doesn't really matter, but I like picking up stuff. It's my habit. This recovers your health slowly. Ring of Sincere Prayer. Increases miracle power and vulnerability time while casting miracles. Said to have once been found by a young 6th saint, Astraea, as one of the revelations of God.